In the quiet, coastal town of Harrow's End, there existed an old lighthouse known as Blackstone Beacon. It had stood for centuries, its towering silhouette a familiar sight against the rocky cliffs. However, despite its picturesque exterior, the lighthouse harbored a dark secret known only to a few. Legend had it that the lighthouse keeper, Arthur Grimley, had mysteriously vanished one stormy night over 100 years ago. His disappearance was never solved, and locals believed that his spirit still lingered, trapped within the lighthouse's walls. Stories of strange noises and ghostly apparitions deterred even the bravest souls from visiting Blackstone Beacon after dark. One misty evening, 3 teenagers, Ella, Tom, and Maya, decided to explore the lighthouse. They were intrigued by the legends and sought to uncover the truth behind the haunting. Armed with flashlights and an old map of the lighthouse's interior, they made their way to the towering structure. As they approached, the waves crashed violently against the cliffs, and the wind howled through the rocks. The lighthouse loomed above them, its windows dark and uninviting. Determined, they pushed open the heavy, creaking door and stepped inside. The air inside was cold and damp, and the sound of their footsteps echoed eerily through the narrow halls. Cobwebs clung to the walls, and the scent of salt and decay filled the air. They climbed the spiral staircase, the wooden steps groaning under their weight. Halfway up, they heard a faint whispering. Ella paused, her heart pounding. "Did you hear that?" she asked, her voice trembling. Tom nodded, his face pale. "Yeah, but it's probably just the wind." They continued upward, but the whispering grew louder, more distinct. It sounded like a man's voice, calling for help. Reaching the top, they found the keeper's quarters, untouched for decades. Dust covered the furniture, and an old lantern sat on a table, still intact. Suddenly, the room plunged into darkness as their flashlights flickered and died. Panic set in, and the whispering became a chorus of agonized voices. Shadows danced around them, moving in unnatural ways. Maya gasped as a cold hand brushed her arm. "Something's here," she whispered, her voice shaking. Ella fumbled for her flashlight, her hands trembling. When it flickered back on, they saw the spectral figure of Arthur Grimley standing before them. His eyes were hollow, and his face twisted in a silent scream. "Help me," he mouthed, the words echoing through the room. Terrified, the teens backed away, but the door slammed shut, trapping them inside. The room grew colder, and the ghost of Arthur Grimley reached out, his translucent hand passing through them. Desperation and sorrow emanated from him, and they realized he was trying to show them something. Gathering her courage, Ella stepped forward. "What do you want?" she asked. The ghost pointed to a floorboard in the corner of the room. Tom pried it open, revealing a small, hidden compartment. Inside, they found a dusty journal. Opening it, they discovered it was Arthur Grimley's diary, detailing his last days. It spoke of a terrible storm and a tragic accident that had claimed his life. His spirit had been trapped, unable to find peace. Understanding his plight, the teens promised to set things right. They took the diary with them and left the lighthouse, vowing to share Arthur Grimley's story with the town. As they exited, the whispering ceased, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. The next day, they presented the diary to the town's historical society, ensuring Arthur Grimley's story would be remembered. Blackstone Beacon still stood, but the ghostly whispers were never heard again. The lighthouse, once a place of fear, became a symbol of remembrance and redemption, its dark past finally laid to rest.